Hello, hello. My name is Charlotte Heyment. You can also call me Charles, or if you've seen me around the Discord, I go by Lemon Apple there. So, I've been having a lot of fun with Boss Strike, and so I wanted to make a little video for the upcoming weekend, showcasing what a kind of medium level setup is. I mean, I'm level 49, but I mean medium in terms of like spending. So there's a lot of things where it's free to play, or a lot of things where, the content creator has an infinite amount of money. But this guide is purely for people who have dropped a little bit of cash, a respectable amount of cash, but they don't have something crazy like 100 super tanks and 20 heavy chem tanks at their disposal. So this guide really focuses on taking what you have, the small amounts of nano units that you have, and making sure that they last you the entire boss strike. Because I've had a lot of people who bring in key units to the fight, end up losing them, and then have to sit there for like an hour or two just waiting for their stuff to properly heal. So without ado, let's hop right into the boss strike. So we actually rolled into the perfect one here, so we don't need to re-roll. I'll show you that later. So you want to look out for this formation. I want you guys to remember this formation because this is a really easy one. So it looks kind of scary with the falcon in the front, or in the middle here, but you want to look for this one. It has the boar in front, it has these skirmishers, and the falcon. A lot of people skip past this because they see the falcon and they're like, I don't want to deal with the flying unit. But this flying unit is the only thing that's threatening here. So you actually want to fight this. Now you want to bring your front row of tanks. I have rank 5 super tanks here. You can also bring rank 3, rank 4 super tanks. I think it's fine. The lower you go, the more at risk of dying you are, or losing a tank. But if you're careful, it should be fine. You can also replace these with heavier tanks. Heavier tanks works fine. They're essentially the same. Or you can use heavy tanks if you're really struggling for stuff. Heavy tanks, I wouldn't suggest them, but they're still doable. I've seen some people really not have a lot of units, and they are using peacekeepers. Peacekeepers are, I would say, the bare minimum. You want these guys really high rank if you're using them, but they can still serve you well. For my example, because I don't have any of those other things ranked up, we're going to be using super tanks. Next up is anti-air, so we want something to kill that pesky falcon over there. So for me, that is my rank 4 veterans. They can hit them with the grenade attack. You can also use the TF2 Demo Man. He does really well. There's also Chuckers, which is a really good free-to-play unit. The problem with Chuckers, and why I don't like them personally, is they're a bit frail. They can get taken out really easily, and you'll end up having to heal a lot of them. Or if you just have like 100 of them, which wouldn't be too hard for a lot of day 1 players, you just kind of keep going. Anyways, Chuckers are good. I've also seen people run unmanned flame turrets. Who would have thought unmanned flame turrets are good? They actually one-shot the falcon, so those are surprisingly solid. And then lastly, I had a guildmate just run like sinister fragments, because he had 2 sinister fragments and no other anti-air really leveled. So he used that. You use whatever you can to kill the falcon. That's the important thing here. So next up is the star of the show. It's the heavy chemical tank. This thing absolutely shreds everything. And why is that? That's because in this boss strike, in particular, everything takes a lot of fire damage. It's like 2.25x. Plus, a lot of things have innate fire weakness. So your heavy chem tanks are dealing like 3 times, like 2 times, 3 times the damage. It is insane. And because both of their attacks are fire damage and they apply a fire dot, or they fire damage and they apply a poison dot, you're getting a lot of value out of them. Now, 3 is kind of the magic number for me. I think 3 lets you just kind of go all willy-nilly with the attacks. You don't really need to care about what you're hitting. As long as you're hitting it, things will die really, really fast. If you just have 2, you can probably put another tank here, or you can put anything else. 2 is going to be a bit hard. You're going to have to be very careful with your cooldowns, and it's going to be a lot harder to kill things really fast. So it's going to be a bit awkward. It's still doable. I've done it with 2, but most of the time I'm using 3. So let's get into this. So how you're going to do this formation in particular is we're going to start by killing the Falcon. The Falcon is the biggest threat. If you've played a lot of naval, you know that power boats can sometimes randomly one-shot your M10s and whatever. The Falcon is just a power boat that's flying on a balloon. Everything else here, though, once you've killed that, is just kind of not threatening. You kill them all with the Heavy Chem Tank. Look at that damage. Absolutely obliterates them. And nothing else really hits you for that much damage here. Now, sometimes what you want to watch out for is that the Falcon can, like I said, can crit you for a lot of damage. If it crits you, it like double crits one of your chem tanks. It's dropped down to like 200, 100 HP. Then you honestly want to consider just retreating. Retreating is really your best friend for if you're trying to not sustain any meaningful casualties. Remember, it's just a waste of time if you retreat. You keep all your units. You don't have to wait an hour. It's better that you waste like the 3 minutes that it took you to get to wherever you are in your boss strike than it is to just be forced to sit there and wait for your heavy chem tank to heal. It's just not worth it. So once we clear all of this out, we can move on to the second wave. I just clear you can clear the rest of it with heavy chems. I just like to save a bit of ammo, so I have cooldowns going into this. So now the second wave, we have the second problem of the boss strike. That is these raiders in black. They are called the Brutal Raiders, and they are just elite variants that we haven't really seen yet of the regular raiders. Unlike the regular raiders, these guys are kind of scary, so you want to focus on them. Using the Heavy Chem Tank, since it's an indirect line of fire, we can take out the 2 in the front. That's why we keep them in the second row, by the way. Not only are they better protected here, so you don't have to lose them, they can also hit their vials, their second attack, into the front row. So, we kill the Brutal Raiders. It's indirect, so we can just fire wherever. And then once again, we're kind of in the situation where nothing is terribly threatening, and we can just take our sweet time killing everything with the chemical tanks. Now, the reason why at the beginning I really specified that you want this formation in particular is because this is like the least threatening thing. There are a lot of enemies in this boss strike. There are ground shakers, spider wasp strikers, and the brutal brawler, the elite version of the brawler. These things can all like threaten to like one-shot your heavy chem tanks. The ground shaker does, and then the striker and the brutal brawler are really threatening to your tanks. If you face them, when the wave transitions and the enemy gets to attack first, they can just kill off one of your important units or any of your units, force them back to repairs, and you have no input. You have no counterplay against it. So how do we counter that? So this third wave is really easy. There's no Falcon, no Brutal Raiders, none of those things I just mentioned. And so frankly, you don't care. This is a freebie wave. You don't really need to pay attention. You just use the chemical tanks. And they can just kill everything. Super simple. This is the only other threatening wave in this entire setup. So in these 4 waves, you have the brutal, the searing fire breather. That's what he's called. He does a lot of damage. So while he won't really one-shot anything, you still don't want to get hit by him. So you want to make sure he's dead. Him and his other brutal raider friend. Luckily, the chemical tank just one-shots both of them, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, once again, we've reached this state. There's nothing that's really threatening, so we can kind of just take our time. And what I mean by nothing that's really threatening is I can literally just pass the turn, skip my entire turn, let them hit me. We can do it again. And we're not afraid of anything dying. So what does this mean? This means we've effectively won from here. It is really hard to lose a unit unless they're already really low at this point. So you can just stop paying attention. Once you take care of the big threats, you can go back to doing whatever you're doing on the side. You can be watching TV, you can be laughing it out with your friends, you can be watching a YouTube video, you can be watching this YouTube. That's one wave done. That's going to be almost 6,000 points for me. It's going to be a bit different because I have a different guild modifier than you. But let's keep going. So, when we reach this screen, if you haven't already reset, you want to click this button so that your formation goes again. Now, I'll teach you how to reset, because we're looking for specific waves that we know are safe from the really big threats. So we want to reset. We want to start the fight, immediately retreat out, make sure this is ticked, and then you keep going. So we're going to keep resetting. We've reset back into this wave. We really like this wave. The reason why we really like this wave is because it's the exact same every single time. So all of those waves that we did previously, they are going to be the exact same. I've done this fight over 50 times, 60, 70 times maybe even. Like, this is one of the only fights I do because it's so safe, because I know everything in here. I've learned it. So I can just kind of really autopilot it. Remember, it's kill the Falcon, kill everything else, focus down the Brutal Raiders, and then you're golden. You're fine. You shouldn't ever really lose units unless the Falcon starts off and, like, hits you super hard, but then you just reset. It's really easy. So, I'm actually not going to do this. What I'm going to do is, there is a second formation that I really like to use. This one's slightly harder, but I'm going to show you. Okay, so here's the second formation that I like fighting. These guys are going to be slightly harder than the last one, mainly because there's slightly more damage. The damage comes from the fact that there is this Falcon here, and then there is a second one in the next wave. So if you don't like that, which is totally understandable, you can just keep farming the first formation I showed. But I like doing this one too, just for a bit of variety. So, to start off, I actually kill the Brutal Raider first, because I can one-shot him with the Heavy Chemical Tank. If you want to focus down the Falcon, I don't blame you, that's perfectly fine. See right there, it does a lot of damage. That's still okay for me. If more damage was on the Heavy Chem Tank, I would reset here. And resetting is really what's key to keeping your units alive. If you see a fight that you don't like, or if something is in danger of dying, just reset. It's not worth it. You get so much more value out of your units, and all you're losing is time. So, obviously, if you're trying to speedrun, I know a lot of people are speedrunning this. They're trying to get as many points as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible. And they can do that because they have like 20 heavy chemical tanks. They don't care too much if they lose one. They're still sad if they lose one, but they don't care too much. So, moving on to the second wave. This wave is probably the trickiest because the Falcon is in the back. If you have things that can hit the back, fantastic. My veterans, because they're in the second row, cannot hit the Falcons. You can put him in the front. He is more vulnerable there, but he will be able to hit the Falcon straight up. But for me, I'm going to have to kill the front row first. I like killing the Brutal War Mammoth here first, because I think he's scary. So now we just clear the front row with our heavy chemical tanks. And this is probably where you're going to be watching for resets the most. Because we take a lot of time here, you can watch. It's not the fastest process because this front row is really tanky. This Falcon's Nest gets to essentially hit us for free the whole time. And sometimes that can bring your units really low. This is why, if you're not confident, I don't suggest you do this variation. But it's not too bad. Now, this wave is once again really easy. There's not a whole lot. You have the 2 fire breathers, but they're just normal fire breathers. They still do a lot of damage, but it's not that much. Everything else here doesn't really threaten you too much. The brutal armored mammoth, he doesn't really do too much damage. He does about the same damage as a regular variant. He's just slightly tankier, so not too much to worry about. So, last wave here. There's something interesting here. So these brutal champions, they have the same regular attack as the regular champions. But the funny thing is, they have this extra attack, which does the same damage as the normal attack, but does it in explosive damage, as well as has a really funny 5-turn 100% fire dot. This will deal fair amounts of damage, but our tanks are still pretty tanky, so we're not too scared. Plus, we can instantly kill them with the heavy chemical tanks. Once we kill that, there's another fire breather in the back. And then we're in the same state again. We have effectively won. These guys don't really threaten us. The brutal raider warrior isn't a threat. The skirmisher isn't a threat unless your units are really low. And there we go. So that's going to be slightly more points. That's the second variation. These are the only 2 I've done. I've done about 700k points on these 2 formations alone. Here it is again. I've just been repeatedly doing these. I've been skipping everything else, and I have not lost a single heavy chemical tank in about over 100 runs. So I'd say it's pretty good. Now, I see some people with questions. What if you haven't raised up your heavy chemical tank? You're watching all these streamers with R6 heavy chemical tanks absolutely shredding, and you're worried that you didn't invest in the right unit. Well, let's take a look. Mine are rank 3. This whole time you've been watching me play with the rank 3 heavy. They deal slightly less damage, but they still do the job. They're still amazing, even at rank 3. Now, could you do this at rank 1? Probably not. because you need this attack. This second attack is the bread and butter. This is what does the majority of your damage. So you want to unlock this with nanopods, and you do so at rank 2. But you can probably do this at rank 2. This is fine. Mine is ranking up right now. I just saved it for rank 3. I would have instantly done it, but I wanted to show you guys what it's like with just rank 3s. Well, that's everything from me. I hope you guys get all the snakes. I hope your guilds do well. I hope nothing bad happens to your heavy chem tanks. So if you've liked and enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You guys know the whole spiel and all that. Anyways, this was my first video, so hopefully I did well. If you're here for some reason after the boss strikes ends, thank you for watching all the way through in content that is no longer relevant. Anyways, I don't really know how to end this thing, so I'm just gonna go with a bit.